Derby County's 2007-2008 season remains infamous for setting the record for the worst Premier League campaign ever, finishing with just 11 points. Since that disastrous season, the Rams have faced financial turmoil, nearly getting liquidated and dropping all the way down to League One. But now a new chapter is on the horizon as they have just been promoted back to the Championship. Today, however, we embark on a bold mission to rebuild Derby County from the ground up using only free agents. No transfer budget, free agents only, and our ultimate goal is lifting both the Premier League and Champions League in 10 seasons. So grab yourself some popcorn as we rebuild Derby one free agent at a time. And we are of course starting this in the Championship. After Derby got 92 points last season in League One, they are in the second biggest league in England and in my favourite league in England as well. So we'll be starting this rebuild in the Championship. And as you look at this team, there might not be a lot of them left at the end, but there is going to be one player in the starting 11 who is in the team at the end of the 10th season. Get your guesses in down below. Who is the player in this starting 11 that will be in the team at the very end of this rebuild? Whoever gets it right, we'll give it a like and a pinned comment, and hopefully you guys can get your guesses correct. Now, this is the team we've got so far. There's some decent players in here. The best players are some of the younger ones. We have got Liam Thompson in DM. I believe he's just a youngster. He's just 22 years of age, a decent little central defensive midfielder. We've got Erhan Cash in here as well, who's 22 years of age, some fantastic stats as a ball-playing defender. And looking through the squad itself, it's not too bad. There is a bit of an age issue, and I don't think that's going to go away because we are literally only allowed to sign free agents. I have set my scouting up to just find me free agents only and people whose contract are ending in the next 6 months. So when it comes to the end of the season and I look for free agents that our contracts expired, we should hopefully have a very good sort of showing of who is actually willing to come to Derby and who is going to be the best players to get into this squad. It is going to be a very difficult rebuild. We're not going to spend a single penny. It is all going to be free agents, and I'm very, very excited. I've not done one this year yet on FM, and they're normally some of my favourite videos to make. So let's get into it. Let me show you the signings I made for the first season. And well, because the database I am using, that is up to date as of the middle of August. Derby have done a lot of their transfer business already, as you'd have seen from that updated team. So there was only 2 signings I decided to make rather than cramp the squad out too much. And number 1 is young Scottish midfielder Jensen Veer, signed from Brighton. He is just 22 years of age. He's got some good value on him, so potentially some resale value, but overall just a good young midfielder. And finally, we've got some extreme experience in goal in Yuri Pavlenka. He has been at Werder Bremen for 6 years. He's played over in Croatia and Czech Republic, and now he's here. Yuri Pavlenka, the new Derby goalkeeper, 21 caps for his nation of Czech Republic as well. And I'm very excited because we have got probably one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, and this is how the team is looking. We've got Pavlenka in goal, Ryan Ayambe at right back, Elder at left back, with Cashin and Nelson at centre back, with Thompson and Ben Osborne in the midfield, of Caden Jackson, Mendes Lang, Gomagine and Collins up front. A pretty decent side, a little bit on the aging side. As mentioned, that is not going to get easier because a lot of free agents are there because they're 30 plus and their contracts have expired, which means our wage budget is probably going to be a bit mental in this video, but hopefully we can build these finances so Derby are no longer in any risk of getting liquidated. On the version I've got, they've got no net debt whatsoever, a little bit of transfer debt, £18 million in the bank, so hopefully we can carry that on and just make Derby a massive club again, and hopefully not have a repeat of that worst ever Premier League season. Let's try and get promoted though in the Championship. We are predicted to come in 23rd place. We're going to do much better than that, of course. And the reason I say that is because we're seeing Derby at Wembley, not in the semi-finals of the playoffs, but in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I don't know how we've got here either. And don't worry, we're not going to win the FA Cup in the first season, but it's credit to the team we've got here at Derby and the fantastic tactics that we are using. Sarabia finds Doyle to make it 2-1 to Wolves, and they are going to make it 3-1 as well. But I wanted to showcase what an unbelievable run we've had in the FA Cup in just one season. Not only, of course, do we want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. We've got 10 seasons. We will be able to do it. Let me know down in the comments down below. But that is our first game showing you guys we lose 3-1 in the FA Cup semis. Absolutely buzzing we've got there. And even though we missed out on playoffs by just 2 points, I am very excited the fact we've got all the way to 7th place in the Championship. We were predicted to come in 23rd, and in just one season we have upset the odds massively. 24 wins, 4 draws, 18 losses. We have a lose or win here. We don't really do many of them drawing malarkeys. 23 goal difference and 76 points, 2 points outside of the promotion places. I doubt we'd have got anywhere, as it was Sheffield United, Southampton, West Brom and Burnley in the top 4, with Leeds and Luton going back up to the Premier League. And talking to the Premier League, coming down to us, Leicester, Forest and Fulham. So we're going to have a very difficult time next season. But that is an incredible, incredible season. Semi-finals of the FA Cup and 7th place in the Championship. We scored the 2nd most goals on 87. We just weren't very good defensively. As you can see from the team, we had very much being carried by Pavlenka on a 6.95. Defensively a little bit rough with Nyambe, Nelson, Kashin and Elder. DMs weren't fantastic, but going forward, Caden Jackson with 16 goals, 14 for Mendes-Lang and 12 for Collins was also very, very impressive. The one thing that maybe was an oversight on my behalf was getting an absolute superstar striker in. We literally had Tom Barkhausen, Caden Jackson and James Collins, who were 31, 31 and 34 to lead the line for us. So we maybe missed out on that department, but it'd have been a bit ridiculous if we got this Derby side instantly promoted to the Premier League. It has allowed us, though, a lot of money. £10 million in wage budget. I don't need any of that. We're going to be having £200,000 to spend on wage budget, and I am not being realistic. We are not doing this as realism. We are doing this to get as fast as we can to Premier League winners with Derby, and we're going to be doing it for 10 seasons anyway. So bringing in the likes of Carl Jakob Hines, fantastic goalkeeper, Ismaila Koulibaly could be very good shouts. I mean, there is a lot of players on this list. I'm going to go through, do some scouting and bring some new players in to make this Derby side playoff contenders. And it's safe to say there was a lot more signings coming in and a lot more quality as well. Number 1, Sebastiano Esposito, the 23-year-old Italian 6'2" striker who loves big matches, has left Inter Milan to come to sunny Derby. 13 finishing, 15 composure, okay speed. He's our big boy in the box. And well, someone to get the ball into the box to him is going to be Yana Caramo, released from Torino in Italy. 16 acceleration, 15 pace. We're giving him 12k a week. It's absolutely fine. You're consistent, you like big matches, you're very, very fast, and you can whip a ball in with 13 crossing as well. That's exactly what I need to see. And well, potentially on the other side, and as a backup striker, we also have Duncan Watmore. He's just played for everyone at this point in the Championship. It's Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Millwall, now Derby, and Big Duncan can help us get to the Premier League. We then move on to our defence, and we've strengthened massively, signing Jonathan Panzo. This is a guy that had been released from Nottingham Forest. He was signed a few years ago from a place over in France as a wonder kid centre-back. He's made a cap for Ivory Coast already. He's consistent. He likes big matches. And this is a guy that genuinely could become Premier League quality if he's nurtured the correct way. And well, someone with that already Premier League experience and quality is Alan Campbell. It might have been for Luton and they got instantly relegated down to the Championship, but this guy is a brave, tenacious, strong tackling central defensive midfielder, and that's something we missed last season in DM. Having Ben Osborne and Liam Thompson in there, it was a little bit too ball playery. We didn't have a proper strong DM, and in Championship you need that, and that is our Alan Campbell. And that is that really for all of our signings, and we're looking at a much different squad compared to last season. Pavlenka, Nyambe, Panzo, Kashin, Elder, Thompson and Osborne still in DM. That's just not correct. It's going to be Thompson and Campbell with Caramo, Gumajin, Caden Jackson and Sebastiano Esposito leading the line. It's a very different Derby side already. We are now predicted to come in 16th, which gives us an absolutely fantastic chance of getting into the playoffs, as last season 23rd, finishing 7th. This season 16th, I'm looking for a playoff spot so we can start our Premier League attack. And well, there was a few teams that I was very worried about playing this season. Number 1 being Burnley. But I mean, Burnley are absolutely no match for the mighty Derby. Esposito there getting his head on that one to make it 2-0. And while Zaki Amdouni can make it 2-1, Esposito can whip a ball in to cash in at the back stick for 3-1. And we're going to grab a fourth and show some domination in the early stages here. And it wasn't just Burnley we could beat. We also faced up against Leicester, just for being relegated from the Premier League, facing up against us, and they're also going to come under the Derby sword. 2-0 early on. They are going to make it 2-1 thanks to a ridiculous chip from Gabriel Moscardo. Just shows the quality of players we're playing against. But we're going to make it 3-1. Jan Karamo for Mendes Lang for 3-1. Leicester, 92nd minute penalty. Absolutely fine. We've beat Burnley, we've beat Leicester, and we've also beat what I believe could be one of the strongest championship sides of all time, Nottingham Forest. Esposito getting on the end of a ball over the top to make it 1-0 before grabbing a second thanks to Blackett Taylor. They are going to grab one back in the 79th minute thanks to Ibrahima Sangare, a £40 million signing, but it wasn't enough to beat the mighty Derby. And in fact, no one could get close to us all season as we got 103 points, 33 victories, 4 draws, 9 losses, a 52 goal difference, and battered the championship. We are champions. We are going up, and it was without having an absolute star man as well. As we look through this squad, the goals were shared out between Esposito, Caden Jackson, Gujmadin, Jan Karamo, the assist the same. Jonathan Panzo was great. Karamo, Esposito, Ryan Nyambe, Gumajin, Jensen Veer, one of our first signings, was brilliant. Liam Thompson has developed into a real fantastic ball-playing central defensive midfielder. And the Derby side is now in the Premier League. It has taken us just 2 seasons, free agents only. We now have got some dignity to find. We know Derby had the worst season of all time in 2008, just 11 points. If we can, get 12, I'll be happy. But if we can secure safety, we can then build on what could be a historic run for Derby. Looking at our finances, we've got £42 million in the bank. The board have given us a stupid amount of money, but all we need is the free agents to be good. And that's the hardest thing about this rebuild. There's not a lot I can control. I need players to run their contracts down. I need them to accept coming to Derby as what will now be an absolute slog. A lower half Premier League side, a team battling relegation. I need some of the best players who get released to choose Derby, and that's going to be tough, but I believe we're up to the task. Let's get into our Premier League transfer window. And well, first up, I've got some owning up to do. I actually signed 2 players in this window. Don't worry, both were under £1 million. I'm not quite sure what happened, whether I just got very confused when doing it or what happened. I did sign 2 players. Number 1 was Ronan Ferns. He was a 5-star centre-back potential from Celtic, I believe. Apologies for this one. And second up is Marcel Ratnik from Olympia. I don't really know what happened. I don't know if I was in complete autopilot mode. I do run multiple simulations in multiple different saves at once to sort of make this YouTube grind work. And I think I got a bit confused between the 2 that I was doing. Apologies. I've signed 2 players. £1.3 million is against our name. A slap on the wrist, get at me in the comments, whatever, I'm sorry. But overall, we had a very successful free agent window, signing number 1 striker, Jean-Philippe Mateta. The oiliest and quickest man in the world, Adama Traore. I mean, eat your heart out. 18 acceleration, 19 pace. We know Football Manager is just all about pace. So Adama, welcome to Derby. And we'll keep on that trend, shall we? We'll grab someone that's not quite as big, oily and strong, and maybe a little Welsh man. Dan James. I love Dan James. I'm a United fan. He's gone to Leeds, but Dan James is just a passionate, hard-working little legend. And he's going to be brought in here to Derby to go on the wings of Adama Traore. I mean, that is a scary wing partnership. And if they can't create anything, I'm sure James McAtee will be able to. The young man had a fantastic season at Sheffield United when they were in the Premier League. He's gone back to Manchester City on this save and he's not got any game time whatsoever. They've released him in 2026. He now joins us. He is a fantastic, creative central attack midfielder. He's consistent. He likes big matches and he could very easily get England caps, let alone be a good player for us in this rebuild. So hopefully we see James McAtee become an absolute superstar. And to finish things off, we've got 2 very experienced fullbacks. Number 1 coming in is Matthew Targett. He's played like 100 games in the Premier League for Forest, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Southampton and Fulham in this save alone. And he comes in here as a free agent worth £30 million. And finally is Turkish right back Zeki Çelik. This guy has been linked to some of the biggest clubs in the world in real life in years gone by. He ended up joining AS Roma after having fantastic seasons at Lille, and he now comes to Derby. Some would say a fall off. I would say he's a lucky man. He's landed on his feet. He's incredibly consistent. He loves big matches. He's a great attacking fullback as well. I'm excited to see what he can do here. And that pretty much completes our window. Pavlenka in goal, Nyambe at right back, Target, Kashin, Ratnik, Thompson, McAtee, Jensen Weir, Adama Traore, Dan James, and Sebastiano Esposito. The team is looking quite nice, it's got to be said. I'm a big fan, and there will be some people on the bench and stuff you don't really recognise. I'm not going to go through every single signing I make. As I said, the 1.3 million there is my error. I accidentally signed them too. But as you can see, everything else is free. A lot of people are brought in just as rotation options, and they won't really make too much sense in the story of the rebuild. So ignore them. They're just here to make up the numbers, to be honest. Just like Tanganotu, he's a decent backup goalkeeper from Morocco. I just needed someone to back up Pavlenka just because we had no one else, and that's sort of how things go sometimes. But that is going to be the Derby team for the Premier League. I'm a little bit worried, I'll be honest. I'm a bit scared that we haven't quite got the quality, and we are predicted to come plumb last on 700 points. I wonder if anyone would place an ACCA or a bet on Derby getting less than 11 points this season. I don't think so. Now, did we get absolutely battered a few times? Yes, of course we did. I mean, City had Kylian Mbappe, for Christ's sake, with Erling Haaland. But we have had a pretty fantastic season. 35 points. It's level to the relegation zone. I couldn't care less. We have stayed up by 3 goal difference. We didn't even make the magic 40, but it's just over 3 times better than Derby did in 2008. So it's a massive W. We are staying up in the Premier League at our first time of asking. When it comes down to the data hub, we got absolutely battered. We hardly scored any goals. We conceded way too many, but I'm not that fussed at all. We have survived with Derby, with this team, and it's got to be said, there was a few players that surprised me. I did not expect Esposito to be able to take the carry up to the Premier League. 13 goals is fantastic. He pretty much put the team on his back. And Adama Traore as well. I mean, he's a guy that's played countless times in the Premier League. 6 assists, 5 goals, double figures. It might be the first time ever. In fact, I'm actually intrigued as to that. Has he ever? Yeah, well, not in real life, he hasn't. He's not a goal scorer. 3 is his joint best with Wolves in 2020. And I mean, we've done that here with Derby in his first season. Adama Traore, the absolute GOAT. Dan James, 6 assists and 4 goals. James McAtee doing exactly what I wanted him to do. Get on the ball, dictate the game. And as a 24-year-old, he now goes in as one of our best players. Is incredibly consistent as well. And I will not be surprised if James McAtee is lifting a Premier League trophy at the end of this rebuild. If we make it, remember our 3 goals are to win the FA Cup, win the Premier League, and win the Champions League. And we'd also, of course, like to lift the Carabao and the Europa League and the Europa Conference League as well. So they're little mini goals. But the main goals are winning the 3 big trophies, maybe even a treble. That we're not going to put that as a goal, but that would be absolutely mental. We're now getting to a point, though, 2027, where a lot of people are having their contracts expire. I mean, for example, we've got the likes of Antonio Rudiger and Kyle Walker retiring from the game. We could get players like Memphis Depay, Mateo Kovacic, Nicolas Pepe, but you'll see exactly how I'm doing this scouting. I'm coming to the general info. I'm going to world reputation, and I'm just trying to find players which have big reputation that fit in here at Derby and can make a big difference. Someone like Harry Maguire, maybe not. He is now 34 and has 10 pace. Maybe not the exact signing we're looking for, but if you guys are wondering how I'm doing this, I'm doing it by sorting my reputation. Obviously, they need to be at least a little bit interested as well. So we can get the likes of Sebastian Szymanski or Hani Mukhtar, Bern Leno, Lucas Vazquez, and then also because we've got the scouting set up to go out there and find players whose contracts are running out in the next 6 months or that are already free agents. We have very good knowledge of a lot of players like Youssef Shamiti, Calvin Ramsey, Judson Sabel, Luca Romero. There's a few studs here that are a little bit younger as well that we are certainly going to be looking into. As well, when you look through the squad, age is an issue. I'll be honest, our youngest player is 22. We have a lot of 30 pluses. I think that's going to be a story throughout most of this rebuild, to be honest. It's very difficult to get good players that are free agents that are young. We've got one with James McAtee. We just now need to try and find the rest. Let's get info to the next season in our Premier League. And with the next 3 seasons were all very similar. As season 4, we saved relegation by 4 points. Season 5 saw some slight improvements up to 14, finally breaking the 40-point barrier before having another little tumble in season 6 on 38 points, which is where we pick it up again in this video. And just to prove to you guys, we are still just using free agents only. The last 3 seasons, there have been some decent players come in. I'll show you the team what we're looking at now. We have got our very own wonder kid through the academy striker come through in Benjamin Anamu. He did play just 6 games this season, but he's got 16 finishing, 12 composure, and some decent speed. We've got the legend that is Amad Diallo on the right wing. He went back to Italy. Well, actually, no, he stayed at United, but went back to Italy on 2 different loan spells. Ended up getting released. And for us, he's been fantastic. 10 goals in both seasons he's been here with 11 assists. Absolutely fantastic. On the left-hand side, we have Alan Velasco, another fantastic wonder kid who signed for Arsenal from FC Dallas, went to Fulham, played 3 seasons there in the Championship, doing quite well, and they released him. He played 19 games for us this season, got 4 goals, pretty decent. We also do have a Bellingham. It's not quite Jude, it's Job Bellingham. He is 24 years of age. He went off to Chelsea, signed for $7.5 million. Went on loan a bunch of times. Didn't really grow too much. He's now come to here, 25 games in the Premier League this season, and was a 6.97. Fantastic. We have got his good mate James McAtee sitting next to him as well, and he is absolutely fantastic. Look how well he has grown. We've got Oscar Zambrano in central defensive midfield, just 26 years of age. He has played 2 seasons now here after joining Newcastle for 1.8 million in 2025. He's been here for 2 seasons and he's been pretty damn good as well. Our back line has got Nathan Patterson at right back. He's been released from Everton and absolutely fantastic. A stud signing, 6.82 average rating. Buzzing with that one. Anthony Robinson comes in from Fulham. He is now 32 years of age, but a fantastic left back as well. We still have Cashin here at centre back, who is absolutely fantastic, by the way. He is unbelievable. And Kumbula next to him with Stezchow in goal. He is a Czech Republic goalkeeper. We've gone back-to-back from the Czechs. This guy released from WSG Tyrol in Poland, and he is absolutely fantastic at 28 years of age. We have backups. Semper, Zeki Celik is still here. Ratnik, Alfie Dorrington, Matt Target, Liam Thompson, Jensen Weir. We had Andreas Pereira at one point. Pretty decent free agent signing, has got to be said. He is 34 years of age. He has only joined this season, and it's safe to say he's at the end of his career, but as a, a free kick taker, a nice one to bring in. Adama Traore is still here. He has lost a little bit of pace, but he's good off the bench, and he is sadly now retiring. Gabriel Veron is another one that's come in, and Joel Pirro came in. Now, I have just skipped 3 seasons straight away. The team has changed a hell of a lot. But if I'm honest, all 3 seasons were very, very similar. We didn't do anything whatsoever in the FA Cup. We didn't do anything whatsoever in the Carabao Cup. In the Premier League, as we've seen in the past seasons bit, we come 16th in this season. Last season, as shown, we come 14th. And the season before that, we come 17th, as well as coming 17th before that. So rather than do a half-hour segment on how we stayed as a relegation team, we've skipped 3 years into the future. You've seen the team. It is only 3 agents only. And I'm quite happy with how things are going. Now, we're not really selling players for big money, but due to the Premier League money, our finances have grown significantly. We now have £210 million in overall balance. They give us a transfer budget of 120 million and a wage budget of 434k. Now, of course, we are only signing free agent players. Don't worry about that. But if you guys do want to pick this save up at any point on the Patreon, there's going to be a link to the Patreon down below where I can send you the save file for the end of this season. So you've got all of this ridiculous money, or at the very end, season number 10, where you can imagine the money we're going to have by that point. We have built a super team using free agents only. You can pick it up from that point as well and use the tactics we've been using. All for just £5 a month. The Patreon is down below and it helps support me massively. There's been legends running down the screen right now. We also have over 550 members on the Patreon, and I'm running 3 giveaways for a copy of FM25 for next month. So if you sign up today, you'll be in the giveaway for FM25. 3 copies are being given away. in just 2 weeks' time, I believe it is now. So get yourself signed up. It's $5. It gives you a good chance to get an FM. 500 plus members. Join them down below on the Patreon. Let's get in now, though, to season number 7, where hopefully we can get involved. And I think it's safe to say we've got to the points where free agents are getting a little bit mental. We've just got a 35-year-old James Ward-Prowse in, who is just ridiculous from set pieces. Don't ask him to move too much. He's not great at that, but you just give him the ball. You let him dictate play. We've got an absolute superstar on our hands, and it's pretty cool to see a 35-year-old James Ward-Prowse. Very interesting. But we made some absolutely insane moves in this window. Number one being Matías Arezzo. He was signed for Brentford, where he scored 41 goals in 141 games and then didn't get another contract. No idea why. He's incredibly consistent. He's not great in big matches. He's a little bit injury prone, but as a rotational striker, this guy is a superstar. And we've also signed one of my favourite young wonder kids in real life, Julian de Ranville. This guy signed for Borussia Dortmund from Anderlecht in Belgium, and he's just 24 years of age at this point, and he's a free agent signing after going to Manchester City, where of course, as a youngster, he got absolutely no game time, just 5 games in 2 seasons. After absolutely cooking the championship with Blackburn, he now joins us. He's sort of our Adama and Dan James replacement, an incredibly quick winger who's great at dribbling and crossing. He's consistent, he likes big matches, and he's only 24, which means he's only going to get better. A massive signing there. And that wasn't even the biggest of the window, because after joining Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia, and his contract not being extended, we have poached Georgi Mamadashvili. He's just signed for Liverpool in real life and going back to Valencia. Well, this year, he's joining Derby. The year is 2030. We are giving him stupid money, but as mentioned, we've got so much of it. We're not spending any money on transfer budget. It's sort of what we've got to do. But he comes in here as a leading Premier League goalkeeper. And as you guys know, in Simulation and Football Manager, having a good goalkeeper is absolutely pivotal. And Georgie comes in after having ridiculous seasons over in Saudi Arabia to the Premier League, where hopefully he's going to carry us to some glory. We also brought in American centre-back Cameron Carter-Vickers from Girona, and Norwegian left-back Matthias Furko-Lovic from Juventus, and they signed him from Molde over in Norway. He's a very decent fullback with great determination, good speed, good crossing, consistent as well, and just 26 years of age. Just means our team is now looking pretty strong. We've got Mamadashvili, Patterson, Carter-Vickers, Cashin, Corbeya, who is a wing-back through the academy who looks pretty decent, it's got to be said, with Ward-Prowse and Thompson in DM, Liam Thompson coming back into the team with James McAtee just in front. We've got Amad Diallo over on the right wing, Julian de Ranville on the left wing, and Arezzo up front. When you look through the backups though, we've actually improved the squad a lot. Oscar Zambrano and Joe Bellingham are here in the midfield, which means we've got a very young midfield with the sort of brains and quality of James Ward-Prowse as well. Ricardo Pepe's at the club. He's been here for a couple of years as a backup striker, a pretty cool option. Alan Velasco is here. I mean, Adama is about to retire, I'm pretty sure, in just a week's time. So we'll enjoy Adama while we can. Thank you for being one of the goats of the football world, the oiliest, quickest, strongest winger ever. But as Sergio Martinez said, get back to Jim Adama, because you ain't beating Leacher. Let's get in to season number 7, where hopefully we can now make some progress in the Prem. Well, not only is this our first season not battling a relegational year, it is also our first season getting in the top half of the Premier League. We have come in 9th place on 56 points and 8 goal difference, 14 losses. Granted, but 16 wins, more wins than losses, and we're only 2 places away from getting in to the European qualification spots. Everton have finished 15th and got in the UCL, so I'm guessing they've won the Europa League or something, but it looks like we are finally actually building a team which can compete in some of the biggest places in the Premier League. You now look for our starting 11. We're looking at 30 years old, 29, 33, 29, 22, 29, 28, 36 granted, but 28, 25 and 28, we're no longer a retirement home of free agents. We're actually quite an attractive side to come to. We're bringing in a lot of players which actually can progress. I mean, the likes of Joe Bellingham being on the bench I've made him a Champions League winner before in a rebuild with Birmingham, with Jude, and I'm sure we can hopefully do the same for him here today. Alan Velasco can't get in the team, but a very good rotation option, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm very happy with what we have actually ended up building this season. Top 10 in the Premier League, a very good squad. It's time to get up though into the European places. And what better way to get us into being a European starter than Julian Alvarez? What a signing. He's just signed for Atletico Madrid in real life for 90 million. You should just wait 5 or 6 years, Atletico. He's going to go to Aston Villa at some point, play really good there for like loads and loads of seasons, ask for ridiculous money. They won't give it to him, and he'll come and join Derby on 110k at 31 years of age. 15 acceleration, 12 pace, 15 finishing, 16 composure. This guy can easily lift a Champions League trophy on FM, and he's joined us for a 3 contract. Absolute scenes. We've also signed Mauricinho van Axel Dongen, who is an incredibly exciting young winger from Ajax. He joined Vitesse a few years ago, played 127 games in just 4 seasons, is a great young quick winger, and now joins us here. And the final person to mention is Harry Dean, an incredibly quick winger, signed on a free contract from Newcastle. Now, for some reason, it's given us as a £2.9 million signing. It must have been like a, what's it called? A compensation for getting it over the line. His contract was running out. I signed him. It said we spent 2.9 million. That's rubbish. As a compensation one, it makes this look very annoying with £2.9 million spent. It's the first time it's happened. We move. We obviously signed these two back then for 1.3, but pretty much all free agents. That's still a free agent signing. If we were not in England, it wouldn't have been compensation. So it is what it is. We also signed Juan Lu, who's a young 27-year-old now, attacking fullback. And we've signed Lee Goodall from Manchester City as well. He's a fantastic midfielder / central defensive midfielder who's probably going to end up replacing James Ward-Prowse in the next 12 months. He is still currently in the team with James McAtee and Liam Thompson. Still got Paul Cabella at left back, even though it's probably going to be Lovic playing more often than not. Cashin, Carter Vickers, Patterson, Mamadashvili, Ahmad, Julian Duranville, and Julian Alvarez as well. Who is going to be the starter in season 10? We've got Liam Thompson, we've got Erhan Cashin. Get your comments in. Did you leave one at the start? If you didn't, I've narrowed it down for you. There's 2 players. One of these 2 is going to be a Premier League player in season 10 here for Derby. Just let me know which one it's going to be. It's going to be in the starting team as well. Absolutely mental. Both of them have progressed so well. I'm very happy we've actually managed to do this. Actually keep a couple of Derby players in it the whole time. It's been very cool to see. Let's get into season 8 though. I think this year we can make some real progress. We are now predicted not to get relegated for the first time, which means surely European football. And we're finally in season 8 using only free agents. Derby are going to be a European side in the Europa Conference League. A massive win. 61 points. Just 2 points away would have been Champions League football. But it does mean that we get to tick off hopefully the Conference League next season. And then hopefully we can somehow get in the Europa League as well before season 10. We need to try and win the Champions League. We've also got the Premier League we want to compete for as well. We've got a lot of growing to do in just 2 seasons' time. Are we going to be able to do it? I've got no idea, but this is a massive step up for us. We are now in European football. Julian Alvarez grabbed 13 goals in 7 assists. To be fair, he was our main outlet, and we were just very good defensively overall, hence how we managed to get into European places. But 0.24 goals on average conceded, less than the rest of the Premier League. Average on goals on just 1.37. But overall, it was our steely defending that got us into European places for season 8, which also makes our reputation so much better. So hopefully the next 2 years, the free agents we can sign are going to be mental. Oh, there was a couple of decent signings this summer. Not quite the reputation boost I had hoped for though. Number 1 is Harry Leonard. I know what you're thinking. What's happened here? Harry Leonard is a £66 million striker signed for free after having 4 amazing seasons over in Italy for AC Milan. I didn't expect this to happen either, but we had just Julian Alvarez scoring the goals for us last season. This season, I think Harry Leonard's going to step up as well. What an unbelievable career he's had. Can he cap it off with helping Derby lift some trophies. And our only other massive signing coming in to actually help out the first team is Archie Brown. He's an English left back playing over in AA Ghent. He's actually changed nationality now to Belgium after playing there for so long. But this guy is fantastic. He's a very good Moneyball signing. If you do any Moneyball, if you've seen the Moneyball videos before, Archie Brown is fantastic. He's a left-footed centre-back / left-back. Great speed, great crossing, great dribbling, great defensively as well, and is incredibly consistent. And them two come into the team and help us out a hell of a lot. Now, I do think Julian de Ranville will be maybe a backup this season, and Leonard will play on the left, Ahmad on the right, and Julian Alvarez up front. McAtee, Joe Bellingham, and Zambrano is our midfield now. We had this midfield a few years ago, slightly underdeveloped. This season, I think they are developed perfectly. Patterson and Brown as our two fullbacks, of Cashin and Lafarge, who is a free agent signing I'll show you in a sec as well as Mamadashvili, who is still in goal and still absolutely fantastic. Lafarge is also a free agent signing. Unbelievable. He come through the Nantes Academy, went to PSG, then went to Liverpool, played unreal in the league last season, playing 32 games, got released, and now he's here. He's a pretty decent centre-back. Centre-back is actually one of the hardest positions I'm finding to find good free agents. He is one of the best out there, makes it incredibly tough, but he's there with Cashin, and hopefully season number 9 we can finally lift some trophies. We're going to take things all the way back to season number 1 and give you an FA Cup semi-final. It is absolutely mental. We got all the way there in season 1. This is the first time we've been there since 2025. It is now 2032, and Derby are going to an FA Cup final after a 1-0 victory against Fulham. And we're in the final against Newcastle, and some fantastic pressing from Luke Goddard made us 1-0 leaders in just 32 minutes. But in the 89th minute, their goalkeeper went up and Schlotterbeck scored a header to make it 1-1 in this game. Newcastle missed their first penalty and ended up missing a few more as well, and we won 4-3 on penalties and make Derby FA Cup champions. It is one ticked off the list. Champions League and Premier League are to go. If we're going to be in the Champions League, we've got to get in the top 5. But before we look at the Premier League table, let's just watch Derby lift another trophy, as of course we have won the Europa Conference League. It's something we should definitely be winning, and Amad Diallo scored in just 45 minutes before Julian de Ranville getting on the second in the 96th to make Derby European champions. Now, it's not quite what we're looking for. We're looking for the Champions League. But that is going to be impossible in today's rebuild, as we have come 10th. But thanks to winning the Conference League, we are in the Europa League for season number 10. So in season 10, we are going to be able to win the Champions League, but we're going to be looking to try and win the Premier League and the Europa League and leave just one trophy remaining. Now, it's not exactly how I wanted this rebuild to go, but not every single rebuild goes perfectly, and this challenge itself is incredibly tough. We only had what the game gave us in free agents to go out there and get, and we had to build a team, and that's strong enough to get even into this position. I think we've done incredibly well. Ahmad de Ranville, Alvarez, Bellingham, McAtee, Zambrano, Brown, Cashin, Lafarge, Patterson, and Mamadashvili is what we go into in season 10. Let's see if we can add some big names to this already star-studded side. I think it's safe to say, first of all, though, there's absolutely no issues financially, and Derby aren't going to be liquidated anytime soon. And that's even after a mental free agent window. We signed Oscar Højlund, first of all, from Heidenheim in Germany. Emmanuel Awu comes in next from RB Salzburg. He's now 32, which is mental. It just shows how difficult it is at this point to sign good free agents, because this guy is a bit of a wonder kid in FM at the start. He's now 32, and it was still going to come in and be a fantastic centre-back, but the age is a big issue. And I mean, we've given him a pretty good partner as well in Jean-Claire Todibo. He's been to Barcelona, Benfica, Nice, Al Nassr, and he finishes his career at Derby at 33 years of age. An incredibly consistent, loving big matches centre-back with fantastic speed. He never went to West Ham, but he is coming to England, and it's Derby in 2033. We've also brought in a 32-year-old Tariq Lamptey to back up our right back, a 28-year-old Arthur Mirin to add some maybe a bit more defensive quality into our defensive midfield positions, and finally George Inikania as our striker. This guy is a wonder kid at the start of the game, hence why he's only 26 years of age now. He's not progressed too much, but I wanted to get him and showcase him because he is fantastic. His stats are brilliant. He's just 16 at the start. And if you can get your hands on him, he will score you a whole bunch of goals. It's not quite gone to plan for him in this simulation, but if you guys are looking for a striker to absolutely bag some goals, this guy is exactly who you are looking for. As we look into our team for the final season, we are looking at Mamardashvili in goal, Patterson, Tadibo, Awu, Brown, Oscar Højlund, McAtee and Goodall, Diallo, Duranville and Harry Leonard up front. And well, first of all, if you said Erhan Kashin was going to be the starting player in the year 2034, you were correct. He played 32 games at 32 years of age after playing 410 games for Derby from the academy. Absolute legend. Kashin, a Derby hero. But the question we had for Kashin was, could he also help Derby become Premier League winners? And well, Tottenham were the team we were battling at the top of the table for all season long. And in this game at Spurs, we absolutely turned up. Amad Diallo with a great mazy run there to make it 2-1 the 51st minute. And even in 2034, Spurs were bottle jobs. Goodall found Amad to find George Ilkay to make it 3-1. And we won this game. And it also meant we won the Premier League title. After that, Spurs dropped off a little bit. Newcastle came in second place. And the Premier League is looking very different to what we know and love. City down in 9th, Liverpool 8th, United 7th, Chelsea 6th, Spurs in 3rd, and Derby at the top of the Premier League. And it was all thanks to this man, Harry Leonard. I did not expect this at the start of this rebuild for a Blackburn striker to rock up and be our hero, but this season he's scored 35 goals in all competitions and was absolutely broken. We were unbelievable this season. We scored 77 goals, conceded just 40, but what mattered was the points per game, 2.34. We win the Premier League. And that's, of course, another massive tick in our goals for this rebuild of winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup, and winning the Champions League. Sadly, the Champions League winner has run away from us, but that is going to be available for you guys to try and do on Patreon. Make sure to send me a picture. Are you going to do it using free agents only, or are you going to use the now £200 million transfer kitty to rebuild this team into superheroes? We have obviously ticked off one little tick for winning the Conference League. We're in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup and the Champions League in this season as well. What other trophies can we lift? Will I bring you here for a game against Brentford? Brentford's in the final of the Carabao Cup. I didn't think this either. And just showing you guys George Ilkay. What a play he was. When Harry Leonard needed a night off, George was a superstar. Now, this game did make it 1-1 after Lewis Potter scoring at the back stick. But in the 62nd minute, Van Axel Dongen beat his man, cut it back to Archie Brown to find Oscar Zambrano, who scored an absolute screamer to make it 2-1. And just 5 minutes later, Lamptey found James McAtee, who was an unbelievable free agent signing years ago, to find Oscar Zambrano to make it 3-1. And we have a little tick next to the Carabao Cup, a little tick next to the Conference League. And to finish things up, a big, massive tick against the Europa League, meaning only one trophy eluded us, the hardest trophy to win in all of Football Manager, but by using free agents only, we won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Conference League, the Europa League, the Premier League, using only free agents with Derby in just 10 seasons. A 2-0 victory over Manchester United. The team we ended up with was Mamardashvili, Nathan Patterson, Tadibo, Awu, Brown, Højlund, McAtee, Goodall, Duranville, Diallo and Harry Leonard. Other than a couple of pre-agreements, fees of 53k there and 2.9 million pounds there, and of course the two mistakes at the start of the rebuild. Every single transfer was free and we spent under 4 million pounds, including all of the contract negotiations. I think we've had a smashing rebuild. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and you'll see me rebuild the next team. Who do you want next up? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you next time.